Chris, can you just go over to that other laptop and say, got it? So that little message will go away. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order this morning. I'd like to call to the public. Do we have any public? Virtual?
We do not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the first item is consider approving zoning amendment 22.01, which would rezone the subject property from general agricultural AG2 to general commercial C1 and authorize the board chair to sign the zoning.
Good morning. I have this map here we can take a look at while we do it.
Sure.
This is a piece of property up in Vernon Township, section 14. The owner of the property came to us asking to rezone a piece of agricultural property into commercial. The master plan calls for commercial areas to be located adjacent to other commercial areas. You know, when we're getting started up, there is a business there currently, as you see C1 right in the middle of the map there. That's a current C1 parcel of land. And that roughly, I believe it's roughly about 5 acres to the south of it is what the request to rezone from ag to C1 is. So it's contiguous with, it's up against Class A road, meets all of the criteria within the master plan. The Planning Commission held a public hearing at their meeting date of, I don't see it in my staff report. Normally I put it in my staff report. At their last meeting in March, so they did see this as a public, they did hold a public hearing. There were no comments prior to the meeting, no written correspondence, and there was no public comment there at the meeting. Planning Commission did move to unanimously recommend this to the Board of Commissioners for approval. And I would sort of second that as it meets our master plan, and it's just another piece of property right in the commercial, right adjacent to the commercial district.
Questions?
I don't think so. I know where it's at, so I drive by it every day.
Oh.
Yep. Make a motion to consider approving the zoning amendment 22-01, which would rezone the subject property from general agriculture AG-2 to the general commercial C1, C-1, and authorize the board chair to sign the official zoning map.
Support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to say. Ayes have it. There's item will go into the work in regular session.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Item is considering request to hire a part-time processor. 2 years for the amount of $12.55 per hour.
Hi, my name is Charity Sweet. I'm the operations manager at the MERF. I'm here in replace of Jake for today. He's got the day off, so.
Do you know Commissioner Marino and Commissioner Hutchinson?
Kind of. I've been to a couple meetings, but I don't think I've been formally introduced.
Okay,
Yep.
It's
It's nice to meet you too. Nice to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks. So what we're asking for is to be, we have an open position for part-time processing. Now, as you know, that we go through Manpower staffing for most of the processing positions, but we do have 2 part-time positions to be able to fill in that processing area. And the reason for that, and the reason we kept that, is because we rely on those positions to be able to run the baler and run the lead position on our commingle line. Those employees are vested into the county, and they're able to keep up on maintenance and things of that nature, as opposed to using a staffing agency for that position. Yeah, currently, here not too long ago, we increased the starting wage for Manpower employees to $12.50 an hour. With that being said, we're asking to be able to start the processing position through the county at a pay step 2 2 years in, because the starting wage, the start is at $11.29 an hour. And that would bring it up to $12.35 an hour at the 2-year mark, with the capability to give them the next 3 years increases. Just when we have people come in and apply, they find out that they can start at more per hour through Manpower versus going through the county. So we have been unsuccessful in filling that position
Right.
since it came open. Yep. So.
So the Manpower people, they never have any.
Not typically, no. They pretty much stay at $12.50. With all the stuff going on with the pandemic and everything, and all the starting wage increases, and all the companies around us, we were having a big issue retaining employees. So we increased the starting wage to $12.50 for Manpower, and it's been pretty successful so far. We've actually been able to keep some of them employees that have applied. I've had people that have been there for a couple months now. So yeah.
I know through COVID, it was really tough.
Mhm.
With Manpower, you were having, normally on a good day, you'd have 10 Manpower employees, is my understanding, and you were
Yeah.
getting 2 showing up on any. So to
Yeah.
have some of these positions maintained as county positions just kind of helps them have a consistency and an employee out there.
Mhm. Well, yeah, absolutely. And to be able to keep the equipment running too. And like you said, maintaining it as well. So.
I don't think so. Yep. Make motion to consider approving the request to hire a part-time Isabel County resource recovery processor at a non-union pay grade 2, step 2 years in the amount of $12.35 per hour.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 to work a regular session of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Ayes carry. Or will be forwarded to the board of regular session of the county commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
The next item is consider approving the request to start the return of Isabel County season gate attendant Joe Cheney. Pay grade 2 years in the amount of $12.35.
Basically what she said. I'm same thing. It's a little early. I'm gonna, she did a very good job. I wish she would explain it for me, but we've, with the pay grade increase with staffing, and then we're moving, starting people out who are qualified, just new employees at a level 2. We have 2 employees that have been with us four years or over 4 years, excuse me, both are over 4 years. So if they continue on with getting their increase from their first year to their second year, or starting on the second year pay grade, they will be making less than people who are coming forward with no park experience, but a little bit of experience. So it explains it the best. As I was just looking at this again, is if we kept them at the same grade, because the start is 1027, and for 2022, will be bumped to a pay grade 2, which is a year 1 of 1182 an hour. This would mean our 2 returning employees already in a pay grade 2 with this experience over 4 years, they will be making the same as a gate attendant with only 1 year experience. So it's returning gate attendants that just for 1 year will be making the same amount, because they were in a pay grade 1 like level, a different level. Because our gate attendants are a gate attendant 1, or we can hire them at a gate attendant 2 or a gate attendant 3. And 2 and 3 are the higher levels. We did that for this reason. We could get somebody as young as a junior in high school, if not maybe even a junior ranger, which might be 15 years old. And that's somebody that would come in at just pay grade 1. And then a pay grade 2 would be somebody that would help us with training, which both of these people do. And out of the gate, a little bit of supervision, not a lot, because that's not until pay grade 3, et cetera. So it's just the result of we're thrilled with the wage increase, of course, of the wage scale and how that's working in terms of having people see what they can do over time. But with it just starting, we found out, wait a second, these guys are making less, and it didn't make
Yes,
sense.
it's the second year that they're actually on the wage scale. Parts
Yeah.
employees were always kind of over here aside, and if they returned the next season, they would get an increase, a 25 cents increase or 50 cents as they came back. But when Seagull Waters was implemented, that classification wage study, they were put on the scale, and it didn't really come up until now
This year,
when
right.
they're going to move up the scale. Oh, now we realize. So Sue Ann and I will be meeting to talk about what makes sense
Right.
as a process going forward to move those folks up the
Right.
scale.
Because in years past as well, we just had, the Board of County Commissioners in I thought it was 2001, but it's 2002, approved a range in each of the positions. So it would be, in the old days, it was like $7 an hour to maybe $9 an hour for gates and park rangers. So if somebody came in, we had a little checklist. If they had quite a bit more experience, they would make maybe $7.75, you know what I mean, instead of $7. And that just allowed us to just fluctuate in there, not really the next year too. We had the flexibility if one person ended up being just a wonderful employee and great experience. They picked up a lot of the duties and then some, that instead of them coming in at $7.75, we might give them a little bit bigger increase as long as we stayed within that range. And we had a little checklist of what experience they would have. And that was something I brought from where I used to work in Colorado, which was really great because you never knew who was going to walk in. And I don't want to say they just want to be a gate attendant, because really one gate attendant to another gate attendant could mean a big headache. Could be some are working on a Saturday night, and that cold water would be a lot more challenging and require somebody with more experience. So it just gave me a little bit of flexibility and again, to attract and keep employees. That was something that was good that we were able to do. So yeah, we are going to continue to talk about that.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that in our Parks Board too. So, but this is just one thing. So at least for the start of the season, these two women, who are great, will be paid a little bit more.
Okay. Make a motion to consider approving the request for the returning Isabel County seasonal gate attendant, Jill Cheney and Emily Yob, at the union or non-union pay grade 2 years in the amount of $12.35 per hour.
Support. Moved and supported by the 5 regular sessions of the county commission next Tuesday. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Ayes carried. I will move to next Tuesday. County commission. I know.
Oh, run along. He gave me the, no.
She's not going anywhere.
I'm
This
teasing.
is gonna get done.
I think Commissioner Hutchison is very happy with this. He's going to be I hope. I mean, that's like, it still needs to be voted on. I understand.
I know.
but-
And I would say for this item, we didn't want to print off the
Yeah,
Parks
I get that.
Oh
RFP
my
for
gosh.
everybody. So if you want to see it, there's a copy of it, but I didn't see the need to print it off for everybody.
Right, got it. Okay, and I know this is a continuing thing, and I see that it was rebid, and also the factor that the prices are really going up.
Yes. So, this is for the Chippewa River Erosion and Canoe Launch Project. So yes, last August, we went out to bid, and unfortunately, we didn't have any qualified bidders at that time. We did have 2 people that went to our mandatory meeting, and both did not qualify. We had one
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 submitted,
submitted, the
one
other one did
didn't,
not. Okay.
and, but the other
It's
wasn't
so
responsive.
long ago now,
It-
yes.
Yeah, it has been a
Now
while.
that I just had to think about it, yeah. So then we rebid it in January of this year. And they were due February 16th. And we had just the one company did attend. The one company that didn't qualify this time. Was very enthusiastic about the project. Was really good about what he needed, knowing what he needed to do. And I know that asked some really good questions, and our administrator did help him out to just guide him along in the process. And it was, this was Miller Development. And so Ron Miller, who had submitted submitted his proposal or bid, is who we are, after reviewing it by administration, our Spicer, who's our engineer, and by our staff, Kurt, Emma, and myself, that we all looked at it, and we're happy with this. We did go through it, as you see in the little little spreadsheet. I just wanted to break it down. It's not really complicated, but it's just, now I feel like I know it almost like the back of my hand. But we had areas for him to look at, and we decided two areas, one area we were not going to have him do, which was the alternate one. It was just something that we figured that's something we could possibly do in-house. And down the road, and it's not the erosion issue this is at the Swinging Bridge in Memorial School Forest, that the high, it's been in pretty good shape. It has a lot of vegetation on it. So we just decided, and then there's a little boardwalk that we were going to do, and we decided we could just work on that later, especially at a price of almost $80,000. That's somewhere that we are confident that that's something that we can do. The only thing in alternate one, and this was unplanned, but a tree decided to fall, a very large tree that went across from one side of the river to the other. Now our staff, it's very big, and our staff did trim it up so people could get through, but it's just far too big. We can't remove it. There's no way for it safely. So what we thought that Mr. Miller would have equipment out as he was doing part of the launch at that site. Wasn't too far away from the bridge, but he did want to go see it, and because we asked him just to give us a price on that. And $3,300, very fair price, that he can bring his equipment in there. It's already in there, so he doesn't have mobilization, and so that's where the additional $3,300 came in under alternate one. So the total of that would be $172,800. And in my report, I explained, this is not a state grant. This is local funding that we received. And so on this page, just breaks it down to where the funding is coming from. And we did get a little bit more money after, the bid, it didn't go through, or we didn't get a bidder, knowing that the price was going to increase. But we knew also that we were probably going to be faced with a bigger match, the County Parks Department. So that's what this breaks down here. Is the at the top part of this where it says funding, the external funds come to $81,000, and the county parks designated projects match would be $91,800, and that covers the cost of this project.
I have a question. Mount Pleasant Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, is that the first time?
No, they've gotten some. No, they contribute $1,000 a year to the disc golf program that we had. And they even did it before their bed tax went up. So since their bed tax went up, they are really reaching out to fund more things to encourage. I mean, obviously the river is very much an attraction, and it's really exciting for them because they are able to help fund things that will encourage people to, not only people in our community, but also for visitors coming into our community to experience, what we love about our county. So that's been really a great thing. I did ask them, they had given us $12,000, and I did ask them if they would fund additional monies for this, and it was just probably not. But then they ended up funding something else about the river, so that was really good. I mean, it's just been really, really a good relationship with Chris Rowley. Yes, it is.
I'm glad you noticed that, Chairman, because I didn't know what a marketing arm CVB had until I met with Chris Rowley just recently. Yeah, they're
It's
into
exciting,
marketing
isn't it?
all things our area.
Right. We talk about, you have these funds that can go back in your community and be on the other side of it instead of us come asking for them. But no, Chris has been really great as an advocate for getting, trying to figure out to what she presents to her board to fund. And so we were really pleased with the 12,000. But in the meantime, the W.E. Martin Fund, that was just a phone call from a gentleman, the last one for 15,000. That was one that came in later. And well, they've always been very supportive. We've gotten money from them as well. But Mr. Martin had called, he saw it in the foundation request that we did, but he did it in his outside foundation. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be $5,000. After explaining what was going to happen, and he really has a love for the community, and he thinks this is a really good project. It was $15,000. So we're very grateful, obviously, with all this support that we've gotten. And with with the parks millage, this is something when selling the millage, having this millage was to have matches for programs too. So our projects that we wanted, we can't do without. So it's not that it's a lot bigger amount, because we thought it was going to be about $30,000, 28, 30,000. But we have the funds, and we just need to get it done. We do, yeah. It's just going to keep going up,
In erosion, it's just going to get worse and worse.
And the parks are, the parks are being higher, and people are using them more. The launches are really getting, I don't say beaten up, but kind of beaten up on a wet day, or all the people going in. And, we have the issue over by the swinging bridge on the north side. There's now a big erosion problem with people going in a spot that's not a designated area. So there's just more people using it, and we've got that blocked off. So they started inputting somewhere else, and now we have less excavation to do in this one other area, because they've created it, but we're going to make it that it's, a lot of, in that plan, it talks about like geo webbing that you put down, and we don't have any of that down at any of our launches, and that will hold in the banks, hold in the launch and the area around the banks, around the launch, excuse me, so that it doesn't break away and go into the river. So it's, and there's, riprap as well that goes in. So, yeah, so we're real excited if this does get approved, because we're really, Mr. Miller's really excited about it, and starting in the summer. And he even called me, or I guess he called me back, but he'll, he just wanted to know when he needs to, look at the agreement, and he'll, if it is going to move on, he will pick up all the information tomorrow and get the bond, the signature, and what he's required to get before the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll have the agreement, which is attached as well to this proposal. And then you guys have the budget amendment as well, which was a very, in my years here, I've done more things that I've never done before, but this is with the help of Melissa, and Miranda in my office. It was to know where the funds and such are to be taken out of. We do have the funding there, but this is was definitely, it took a village on that. So, okay. And then there's 200 pages, or over 200 for you to review tomorrow. I might borrow, or you keep that for record, right? Because that's part of.
If you need that,
Well,
you are
if you
more
don't,
than
We
welcome to
will
borrow.
wait
that,
to
too.
make, we'll wait. We've already got one copy that goes to Mr. Miller. We're just
I
trying
won't
not to.
do anything with that.
Oh, yeah,
then,
don't-
so
yeah,
that you
that'd be-
don't have another copy.
Okay, but anyway, so that's the Chippewa River Erosion Project.
Motion reads, consider approving the project construction agreement for the Chippewa River Erosion and Canoe Launch Project with Miller Development Incorporated of Wademan. Michigan, and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement and budget amendment number 2022-02.
I'll second that. Item 6, approve in regular session. Okay. Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Ayes carried. And item 6 will move forward. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Moving on. The next item is consider approving the request to create a full-time Isabel County caregiver trainer and support specialist position at provisional non-union labor and at a non-union authorized board chair to sign budget amendment to number 2022-3. Hi, Ed Burke. Offered our director of Commission Aging. You're muted.
We don't hear you this morning, John.
Okay. How about that? Is that better?
Oh,
Yeah, that's much better.
There we go. I was trying to turn you up and my keyboard went dark, so I couldn't see it. And I hit mute instead. I'm sorry. So yes, good morning. The request in front of you before you today is to take our current contractual caregiver trainer position, which is housed with our in-home services program, and convert it into just a regular full-time employee. We have struggled since I've been on board, just over 4 years. We have struggled to fill the position and then to keep it filled, for one. And I know it was vacant for quite a while before I came on even. And I think it's a difficult position. I think by having it be contractual, yes, I agree that, it did save the county funds. But we're not able to get somebody in there. We've had some qualified applicants that have applied, and really it comes down to benefits and hours. They're looking for full-time employment, and especially with the credentials we're looking for in this position, it's a professional position. They, in essence, would be joining one of our social work team. We did update our job description, and Nicole helped me go through that, and it scored identical to our social worker position because all the minimum qualifications are the same. They do very much the same work as our social worker positions. The only difference is they do provide some education and training resources to caregivers and also the community. But in essence, they really are, they're a social worker working with clients and those who care for them. And, we have definitely seen a huge rise in the amount of clients that we're seeing since the pandemic. Our social workers alone, their caseloads are way over what we typically like them to be or really need them to be. Right now, I think we're at about 60 clients over. Just with our social work, we have 3 social work positions. And so by making this position a full-time position, we do have an increased number and respite care, which those clients then automatically go to the caregiver trainer because then they work with those caregivers. So we do have an increase there already, but then they would also be able to help with some of the overflow of some of our other just social worker case management for clients. So it definitely would be a huge help for us and would allow us to serve many more and much more effectively than what we're able to now, because they are running. I mean, they're swamped. Right now, as far as this fiscal year, by doing this, Melissa Frankwas helped, and Emma Neaport as well, with getting all the financial information we needed. And for this fiscal year, it actually would be a wash, just because we're so far into the year that there would be no difference in the amount of money that we do have for the position already. It would just be going forward, looking in budget 23. So right now, the difference, we would be looking at just over 27,000. So I'm hoping, maybe we can do some creative budgeting and maybe be able to absorb a lot of that into next year's budget. And if we do have to dip a little bit into our fund, I'm very comfortable with that. We do have a very healthy fund balance. As of the 21st, we were just over $2.1 million in our fund balance for the Commission on Aging. So we do have the funds to be able to support the position going forward.
Sounds good. Sounds like a really good step forward for the services.
That sounds like there's a greater need there for it right now too. I can't imagine a better use for your fund balance, John,
Right.
honestly.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Okay, I'll make a motion to consider approving the request to create a full-time Isabel County caregiver, trainer, and support specialist position at the Commission on Aging at a non-union pay grade 10, and authorize the board chair to sign the budget amendment 2022-03.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 7 to the regular session of the county commission next Tuesday. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Ayes carry. Item 7 will be forward to the board of regular session of the county commission next. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks
You
for
too.
joining us on your spring break, Jen.
You're welcome. We're gonna go freeze at some baseball games today. That'll be good.
Enjoy the sun.
Thank you.
Our next item is consider approving the request to create a full-time Isabel County care. Oops,
Nope,
wrong
we
one.
did that one.
Okay, number 8. Consider approving the estimate of Central Asphalt Incorporated for animal shelter parking lot improvements paving in the amount of $55,958.74 with $27,979.37 cost being covered by the Human Animal Treatment Society ads $27,979.37 cost being covered by the county. Authorized board chair to sign the same.
Steve Shoemaker, Facilities Director.
Do you know Commissioner Marino? And I know you know Commissioner.
Yep.
So I asked Steve to join me in this and wanted to bring it through HR because it is a facilities issue. As you can see from the staff report, it's been a capital project we've had on the books for a while. This is kind of in theme to the parks project that you just forwarded. We've had this, the animal shelter parking lot paving and improvements out to bid twice. When it originally came back the 2 years ago, the price was a little alarming to us. We hadn't built that much into the budget. So we decided to just build more into next year's budget, bid it out again. Well, then we really saw an increase in price at that point.
Never goes down.
It never goes down, does it? When you wait, and during that time, HATS had kind of expressed to us, if you're doing some work on the parking lot, could we maybe incorporate some new spaces? So the project kind of grew, and then of course the price grew again, and then we kind of revisited the issue back last fall when previous administration was negotiating the new contract with HATS. And you'll remember that came to you, I think in November,
Right.
December last year. And during those negotiations, HATS brought forth the proposal, if you can improve that parking lot, we'll pay half the cost, which is, of
Right.
course, quite an offer, really. Previous administration directed facilities to get an updated quote, where are we at? That was done at the time. And then I've instructed him, Steve Shoemaker, to get a new quote just earlier this month. The price did go up about $1,500, but what's in your packet is the current quote that we're going off of. So this would be to put in some water diversion.
The parking lot sits low, so water will sit in it. You know what happens to asphalt when water sits in it, it freezes. We're gonna make a little drain, a little swale drain, and run a pipe out to the ditch to keep the water off of the parking lot so we don't ruin our brand new parking lot.
Plus, we find that
What they'll do is they'll come in and they'll regrind what's there, compact it down, and then they'll go ahead and lay their asphalt on top of that.
Yes, exactly. And HATS is pleased with, what that project would be. There's not going to be any additional spaces. That was kind of abandoned in this, but if we can control the water issue is the most important thing, like Steve says, so it doesn't, continue to ruin the improvements. If you drive around that parking lot right now,
You better drive slow.
you better drive slow, you're gonna
I've
be done.
patched and patched, but you better
Yeah.
drive slow.
We've lost it. We need to get it back. Obviously, it's a county facility. The county's on the hook for that type of improvement and maintenance going forward. Whether or
Thank
not
God
we
for
accept the
ads.
offer
Thank
for
God
them to
for
pay.
ads, right?
Exactly. And so because that offer is on the table from them right now, I would definitely recommend moving forward with this proposal. We could get the work done hopefully this spring.
As soon as, like I said, I had approval from the board, I'll get with him.
Now let's talk money. This was not built into the fiscal 22 budget. And so in order to pay the county's half of the funds, normally finance would be meeting later this morning. They're not meeting till Thursday, but please understand in this round of finance, there is a budget amendment for general fund that would include building in enough funds to cover the cost for the county. And this is a budget amendment that looks at everything we've done in the year to this, we're about halfway through the fiscal year. The contract that you approved with HATS last fall was a 20,000 increase from the year prior. That wasn't built into the budget. So it's built into this budget amendment. You've heard me talk about some positions that aren't going to be filled. Those savings are built into this budget amendment. So the budget amendment I'm bringing forward to finance on Thursday morning actually ends up adding to fund balance, or if you will, using less fund balance than we plan to use this year. It actually adds almost $100,000 back into the budget.
Really?
Even after, all, you'll hear about it at full board certainly, and on finance if you want to attend, but I'm just asking you to trust that I've built in our 28,000 that we would need to come up with in that current budget amendment that will go forward in this round.
Okay.
And with that on the table with them,
Yes.
it's no brainer.
It's free money.
Yeah.
And at some point, we could have taken for, I believe it was the 17,000, grounded up ourselves, just had it that way, but what's the longevity of it?
Right.
If we can get it done and get it done right and get the drainage of the water in it where it lasts for years and they're gonna pay half,
Good deal.
yep.
Yes. It just shows what a strong relationship we have.
Okay. Make a motion to consider approving the estimate from Central Asphalt Incorporated for the animal shelter parking lot improvements and paving in the amount of $55,958.74, with $27,979.37 of the cost being covered by the Humane Animal Treatment Society HATS, and the $27,979.37 of the cost being covered by the county, and authorize board chair to sign this.
Second that. To the work and regular session of the county commission next Tuesday. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Ayes carried. The item will move forward. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
Administrator, could I get that password to the website of?
Absolutely. Yes, I will get that for you before you go.
Okay, thanks. Any comments or questions at this time? Do you want to just keep this? or-
Thank you. It'll save her from printing that. That's a lot.
Got anything?
There is no public at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. In that case, I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.